Okay, moving on to item 9B.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, item 9B is a request for a motion to adopt resolution number 3-15-18.9B in replacement of resolution number 12-4-97.10 to reflect current Sandoval County copy charges. We are working to look at what we have on the books, and that is with regards to contracts and deliverables. As you may have seen in some of the reports that we've been giving to you. Also, that goes for some of the resolutions, and what we're doing is looking at all the policies and procedures as well. What we had on the books was a 1997 records copying charges that not anybody that I know of was really utilizing, and they were actually charging things that we had never had approval to charge. Different offices are doing different things. So one of the first things that I asked our new PIO to do was take a look at this, and I'd like to let her just explain what she's done as far as that goes. She did a great job, and she looked at a lot of other entities to come up with a new resolution for us.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in looking at this resolution, I felt it was very important, just like County Manager Mays did, to have full transparency with the public. In addition, it was very important to comply with IFLA regulations. As you probably know, IFLA regulations are really only specific about physical paper copies with regards to how much we can charge, which is up to $1. However, it does specify that we should be charging reasonable charges. So in reviewing what we had from 1997, what I found was that it was very lacking. Obviously, in 1997, technology was completely different than what it is today. So in looking at this, I reached out to some of our neighboring communities to see what they were charging. I reached out to the city of Rio Rancho. I reached out to the city of Albuquerque. I reached out to Bernalillo County. I reached out to Rio Arriba County. I also reached out to Santa Fe County, Los Alamos County, as well as the Attorney General's Office and the state of New Mexico. What I found was that there are varying charges across the board. So I kind of took the median of what each of them had and went from there. So what you'll see in here is the paper charges, we pretty much kept the same from what we had in 1997. I think honestly what they had in 1997 was probably a little high at that time, but it's probably on par with where we're at in 2018. What we did add was charges for electronic documents on CD and electronic documents on a USB thumb drive. There are some varying charges in all of our neighboring government agencies, but what I found was that my predecessor unfortunately was charging a pretty high amount, what I thought was high, which was either $20 or $25 for a CD, and I just didn't feel that that was reasonable to the people of Sandoval County. What I found was that our neighbors were all charging in the $5 to $7 range for that. In fact, the Attorney General's Office is charging $6.75 for a CD. It's also what the City of Albuquerque charges. Rio Rancho charges $5. Bernalillo County charges $25. So in speaking with some of the directors and some of the elected officials, we came up with the resolution that you have before you. One thing I do want to make mention of before we proceed any further is that I did have a conversation with the Treasurer's Office, and there is one section in here that we do need to strike because it was put in here in error, and I do apologize for that. It's going to be section 4B, as in beta, so we just need to delete that section. And it's one line.
What was that?
It's going to be 4B as in boy. We need to delete that line. And that was just that was added in there in error, so we do apologize for that.
So 4B shouldn't be there?
Correct.
So there wouldn't be a 4A?
There's still a 4A, just no 4B.
All right. So, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have two members of the public who wish to speak on this item. Charles Harrison.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I have a little bit of a problem with this. I think it's a bit misleading.
how this is worded. Item 1 here talks about the Inspection of Public Records Act, but then the other items, 2, 3, and 4, go in and talk about how charges shall apply for records, physical records, or physical copies of public records payable in advance. That's simply not true under the Inspection of Public Records Act. The IPRA requires reasonable accommodations to be made for the public to inspect those records, and if they so choose to do, they can self-copy those records at no charge. And so I believe this is misleading, and could cause the county to be placed under litigation, just like we're Rancho right now.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
I think it just needs to be clarified what the Inspection of Public Records Act actually says.
And David Craig?
Any comments? So the green light means go?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is David Craig. I live in Cochise Lake. Just want to make a few brief comments about this proposed public records copying charges resolution. Overall, I think it's been a lot of improvement for the new PIO, the Public Information Officer, to put together all this information. It's good to see these copying charges clarified to some degree, but I have some suggestions on what can improve this resolution and specifically make it better for county residents to obtain documents. The bottom line, or the most important thing I think, is that the county should try as best as possible to provide access at almost, I'd say for the most part, a free access to electronic documents. Most of the county documents are electronic, and specifically, I think the county clerk's office should be able to provide electronic documents, because I'd say 99% of their documents are electronic. You can view them on computer systems, and I think that providing copies of these documents on through the online records portal, which I believe is a new system that came into play a year or so ago, would be very beneficial. Also applies to the county treasurer's office, which in the resolution basically talks about essentially paper copies. As far as I know, they do provide some documents electronically, but it can be beneficial to provide them all. Also, I think the county clerk's office charge of $1 per physical page is excessive. That, I think, needs to be reviewed. And as Charles Arson just mentioned, there should be, people should be able to inspect records without paying a fee. That doesn't seem to be very clear in this resolution. And also allowing people to record or make their own copies using portable scanners, for example. I think that's something that needs to be at least mentioned so people know that they can do that. Oh, and the other thing too, just a very minor thing, I know I've got 41 seconds. It's glad to see that Sidney Hill is still listed as the PIO individual on the county website. So if someone looks there, they're going to try and contact him, just for your information. So the bottom line is thank you, Commissioners, for looking into this and having the Public Information Officer try and clarify this fee system for county documents. And I would like to present the Commissioner Heil with or Chairman Heil with more details of what I have found, just so you folks can look at it, and also like to email it to each of the commissioners and the county manager and the county PIO officer, if those are okay with you.
Sure.
So I will just present this to you now.
Thank
For
you.
your time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd just like to tell Mr. Gregg, sir, it's actually Melissa Perez is on here if you want to come and see. It's not Sidney Hill, sir.
It actually is. In the documents I provided, they show the screenshot.
No, it's right here, sir.
There's 2 places. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yep, sure.
So, any comments or questions from the commission?
I have one, Mr. Chairman. I'll ask the county manager and council and the PIO, looking through this ordinance, are most of your IPRA requests electronic?
The vast majority of them are, yes.
So when you do an IPRA request for documents, those are free, correct? You email them to the citizen, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So you go in and you send, is it through a PDF that you send it back?
Yes, so the system that we have is called GovQA. So if someone submits an IPRA request that is for any department or office other than the sheriff's department, then I will handle those. And then if I work with the various departments or offices within the county, I'll gather responsive documents, I'll redact those as appropriate by IPRA regulations.
Through,
And then-
by PII, I assume, right?
Correct, so if they're electronic, they get uploaded to that system and we provide them for free at no charge through that system.
Okay, so you go in there electronically, you black out the appropriate information that's not releasable to the public based on state statute, I assume, correct? Or
Yes,
or
that's-
federal statute?
It's based on New Mexico IPRA Act, and there are certain personal identifiers that we are required to redact.
Okay, got that. Now, looking at section 2 of the resolution, and I'm just curious, because what the two citizens said was compelling to me. When you look at those prices in section 2, is that comparable to other counties or other cities related to some of these requests on the materials that they would be requesting?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Block, yes, they are. I do actually have some of the other ones. I'd be happy to go through some of the examples if you'd like to hear what some of the other
Just a few,
counties-
sure.
Sure. Let's go through, let me grab, Bernalillo County's pretty close, they're our neighbor. So Bernalillo County, for a hard copy format, 8.5 by 11, they are 50 cents per page. So we are actually a little less, we are 25 cents per page.
Okay.
For hard copy formats, so a paper photocopy, 11 by 17, they are 50 cents per page. For a report on CD, so that's going to be the...
Well,
the
if we're
CD.
$2 per page on that, are we not, or is that just for maps?
That is just for maps.
Okay.
For these CDs, they are $25 per CD. We are proposing the $7 per CD. Let's see here.
So we're below kind of market value or right with market value is what you're telling me?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure we're not burdening our citizens too much for an IPRA request. You know, the other thing that was said by one of the citizens was complimenting you on your new job and how you've been doing here. I want to say the same as well. You've done a phenomenal job out there on Neighborhood App. I've seen you there in all places, especially in East Mountains, which she's on, which has been very good for District 1. And, Twitter and the Facebook page, so I appreciate that. Lastly, when someone has an IPRA request, how many days do you have to respond?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Block, we have by law 15 days to respond. Unless we are able to deem that particular request excessively burdensome, then that does allow us more time, but we still have to fulfill it if we have
I
responsibilities.
think I know one right now that is excessively burdensome. I don't want to get into that, but I will ask you, those that aren't excessively burdensome, under your time, have you gone over the 15 days?
Not since I've been here, no.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments or questions? I just have a comment based on Mr. Harrison's comments and Mr. Craig's comments. Are there any tweaks that we would make to this?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the only tweak that I would recommend would be to remove 4B, which was at the request of the Treasurer's Office and which was in here in error.
Which you already indicated.
Which we indicated already. I am completely open to clarifying number 1 a little bit, if that would make it a little bit more transparent for the public. We're happy to do so, to let them know that they can view responsive records at no charge.
So in terms of our approach here, would we be better off allowing you to make those couple of corrections and bring it back at the next meeting, or do you want to try and make amendments to it here?
I think that's...
I guess if we made amendments, you'd still have to bring it back to the next meeting, so.
I believe that is correct.
Would those be considered substantial?
Depending on what the changes are, but yeah, my guess would be they would be pretty substantial. And especially if we don't have the exact language right now of what the commission wants.
And why don't we make a motion to postpone this to the next meeting?
So, second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Locke,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilbur,
Aye.
Commissioner Chapman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Upel,
Yes.
Chair Hunt.
Yes. Moving on to item 10,